Everybody, welcome back to Jay's Fifth Down, a football podcast. Once again, I'm your host, Jane Gay, today with Nick Winkler back on to recap 49ers and Falcons, talk some more football action here. Nick, thanks for joining us today on the show. We appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, my pleasure, Jay.
All right, man. So, 49ers and Falcons take on each other here in Atlanta. Falcons come away with the win 28-14. So just some stats from the game. Jimmy Garoppolo finished 29 of 41, 296 yards, 2 passing touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Jeff Wilson just 7 carries and 25 yards. And Nick, what happened with this? I know you guys had a lot of injuries, but just what are your overall takeaways from the game here against the Falcons?
Yeah, I mean, coming into the season, obviously the 49ers defense was their strong point, right? And they showed it through the first 5 games, and they kept overcoming injuries every week. Kinlaw went down, Armstead went down. It's just like was one guy after that. Jimmy Ward went down. And it just was like, okay, next man up. And then you just start running out of those guys, right? Your depth gets exposed when you then lose Bosa, and then you lose Mosley for the season. And it's like these guys can't, and then Ibukam you saw, hobbled off during that game. So it's like they're missing 7 starters on defense. And Atlanta ran right through them. They did exactly what they needed to do. They controlled the ball. They ran the ball well. And the 49ers just couldn't stop it. And really, I think the key to that game, that was a big part of it. But I think what was also, to me, in the second half was Kyle Shanahan getting away from the run. You even said it when you were talking about the stats. It's like, Jeff Wilson, what the heck? He touched the ball 1 time in the second half. They came out in the second half and they went pass. And yeah, there was a drop ball in there and it probably could have been extended to another first down. But then the next possession they came out and it was like pass. Oh, Samuel run. Pass. Another Deebo Samuel run, pass. And then that was it, right? So then they come out the next series. Tevin Coleman gets a carry. And it's like, what are you doing? And then with 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter, Jeff Wilson finally gets another carry. And that's the only time he touched the ball in the second half. And it's like, I don't understand what Kyle Shanahan does sometimes. Like, it seems like he's got it all figured out in the first half, right? He comes out, he's got it all scripted, it's ready to go. Like, even if the run's not working, like, we're going to stick with it. Right now, Jeff Wilson's averaging just under 5 yards a carry on the season. You got to get guys like that the ball. You got to keep the defense honest. Like, you can't just pass. Jimmy Garoppolo had a good game. He looked good. He was airing it out longer than we've seen. He was rolling out, making passes, directing traffic. Like, Jimmy Garoppolo played well. One of the interceptions was, at the end of the first half, he threw up the pass and it got picked. That's not his fault. The other one was probably his fault. But Deebo Samuel could also made a play on that ball, right? And actually caused that to not be an interception. I think it was one of Jimmy's better games. Jeff Wilson didn't look great, but Kyle got away from it. Like, it was just, it didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I'm sitting there frustrated. Like, why does he stop running the ball? Like, second guessing what he's doing, because you got to keep the defense honest. You got to at least run so that you can set up play action. Like, there was just none of that. And it was baffling to me.
Yeah, definitely. And, again, the mindset of that Atlanta team is just this year was just run the ball, man. That's just something that's established. They won Arthur Smith. He's the guy he loves to be physical and run the football down your throat. And, for the Falcons not to really have a dominant running back for sure, just be able to come out and just get those yards and run the football effectively as they've done the past couple of weeks has just been really impressive. Offensive lines played really well. And some of the takeaways I saw from the game was, again, just getting that ground game established. Marcus Mariota, only 1 incompletion through the air. He only had 14 attempts, but he only had 1 incompletion, 129 yards, 2 touchdowns. Kyle Pitts finally got in the end zone. So
it can be done.
All the fantasy guys out there for Kyle Pitts, yes, you finally got him in the end zone. So hopefully that'll get him going. Been waiting for that for a long time. But overall, I think it was a good game plan. And I think, again, the 49ers, a lot of injuries. So this is a game where, Falcons had to take advantage of that and come in and get the win, and they were able to do so.
Yeah, it's tough to have that second straight game, right, on the East Coast and the 10 a.m. start time for the 49ers. But the last 3 years, they've done it really well. So, coming into this game, I knew it was going to be a tough challenge for the 49ers with all the injuries. But you mentioned it. That game plan that they set up for Mariota was fantastic. It was a lot of running, a lot of play action, and just easy passes, not nothing too tricky. It was like, and a lot of times it was his first read. It was like, okay, it's open, boom. You know, like it was really well played out. Mariota delivered when he needed to. Like he didn't have very many bad balls all game. You know, he was just putting it where it needed to be, and the guys were there and they were open, and they really took advantage of Mosley being out too. And that's what you do. Yeah. Right. And when you're scheming up an offensive plan for the week, it's like, where are the weak points in that defense? Okay, it's that defensive line. Well, let's run it a bunch. Easy. Okay, they're missing their starting corner. Let's go after whoever they put in there. And they did that. And they did it well. And they succeeded. And they won the football game. And they deserved to win that football game. They dominated from start to finish. And it was an impressive performance by the Falcons.
Yeah. The one thing I could nitpick on a little bit was just the lack of a pass rush, you know. But again, that's right. Something we're used to over here. But
yeah, because that Niners offensive line is banged up, so it has been an issue for them over the last few weeks. So yeah, and then McGlinchey hobbled off their right tackle, you know, early in the game too, and I thought, oh god, here we go again. Yeah, so no, that was, you know, you need to nitpick, right? That's what we do. Even in wins, you got to be like, okay, here's where they still can improve, because you know there's no perfect team out there for sure.
Yeah, most definitely, man. That's part of our jobs, right? Yeah, it was a good game, man. You know, just the time of possession, again, winning the Falcons' favor as well. Just trying to eat that clock up, run the football, just kind of wear you down. And, you know, but I will say the good thing that comes out of this is, you know, for those other guys, for the 49ers, you know, it's good that they get these reps and experience. It's good. It's a good thing.
Yeah.
You know, and I was impressed on their end from Brandon Ayuk. I believe he had a great game. You know, the only 2 touchdowns 49ers had were by him, but, you know, 2 great plays he had with that. You know, he played really well to me. So
yeah, he looked great. Jimmy found him. He was open. There were a lot of great passes from Jimmy Garoppolo in this game. You know, obviously the Ray McCloud drop on that was one of the best deep balls I've seen Jimmy Garoppolo throw in his time with the 49ers. It was perfect. You know, he was just right off his fingertips, you know, and that's hard. And then, you know, Charlie Warner, the tight end over the middle, another, you know, huge play that just got dropped. And that's football, though. You know, guys are going to drop balls. Guys are going to fumble. Jeff Wilson fumbled. You know, and after that, he only saw the ball 3 more times, you know. So it happens. It's the NFL. Anybody can win any week, right? The ball bounces in weird directions. Sometimes balls get tipped to the air and intercepted. Sometimes balls just don't get caught. So, yeah, it was definitely a solid performance from the Falcons. They look good. You know, just they've got nowhere to go but up, right? This is a young team that just seems to be getting better every week. I told you I was impressed with them before, you know, they lost Cordero Patterson, but I think that, you know, both running backs look solid in this game. You know, I was impressed with the Falcons a lot more than I thought going into this game. They took advantage of the weaknesses of the 49ers, and that's the key to winning football games. And who do they have up next?
So we have the Cincinnati Bengals up next. In Cincinnati, we'll be down one of our starting cornerbacks, Casey Hayward's just put on injured reserve, you know, not too long ago. So he's going to be out the next 4 weeks. That's going to be a huge blow to the secondary, having to deal with Jamar and those electric guys on offense.
Right.
Hopefully A.J. Terrell will be back in the game. You know, he went out with the injury as well, so hopefully he'll be back this week with something to monitor. But, yeah, we got the Cincinnati Bengals up next. I think the key for them, just keep playing like you – just keep competing, you know, for the Falcons. Yeah. At this point, just keep competing, you know.
Keep the ball too, right? Mm-hmm. Time of possession, huge. You know, that's a huge thing, especially with a team like the Bengals that can explode for, you know, a big score any time. And their offensive line's been like cheese this year, right? Swiss cheese, all the holes through it. So hopefully the Falcons can get a little pass rush going there. And you know, what they couldn't do against the 49ers, this is an even better opportunity for them to go and try to get some sacks to the quarterbacks. Niners have a tough one, though. They got the Chiefs this weekend. That's going to be interesting. I know. And Charvarius Ward, their other cornerback, has a little injury issue, too. He might not play. So this is, it might be another ugly Sunday for the 49ers, unfortunately.
Right. So you mentioned the 49ers take on the Chiefs this weekend. So a rematch of Super Bowl 54. We all remember how that went, unfortunately, for San Fran, up 20-10. They, you know, couldn't hold on to the lead. So what's going to be the key or your keys for the game for the 49ers to get the victory here and bounce back against Kansas City?
Yeah, it's just establish that run and stick with it, right? I mean, even if it's not working out, you need to keep the defense honest. You know, you want to try to keep the ball out of Mahomes' hand as well. The 49ers actually have some really good cover linebackers too, so hopefully they can you know, kind of keep Kelsey under wraps, just kind of keep it in front of him, kind of what they did against Cooper Kupp and the Rams, right? Like, he's gonna get his catches, he's gonna get his touches, and you just got to make sure they're not huge. You know, you keep it 6 yards, 7 yards, that's fine, just keep it under wraps and just make sure that they're not getting those over the top plays or those plays where he catches it, runs over a guy, and scores a 30-yard touchdown. So that's Kelsey's obviously he could take him out of the game. There's not a whole lot of firepower right now on that Kansas City offense. And Juju Smith-Schuster, he had a big game, but it was really his first one of the year. Marquise Vet is scouting like MVS has just disappeared. Right, he came in there. He was supposed to be the number 2 and supposed to be a big deal. And man, he has looked horrible so far this season. But Cole Hartman, he's been up and down. Plays here, plays there. Same with the running back there, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Like if they can keep him under wraps and just kind of make sure he doesn't do too much with it. That's what the 49ers are going to need to do. Is they're going to need to score some points. They're going to need to put more than 14 points up on the board to beat a team like the Chiefs, and hopefully they can do that in the offensive line. Lynchy comes back, but I might not be in the cards either. So they might just have basically all new guys on the offensive and defensive line. So the 49ers are dealing with it right now, and hopefully they can kind of limp into their bye week and play well enough to at least be competitive out there, because that's what they need to do. And you stick around long enough in a football game, then you have a chance to win.
Yeah, and that's the big thing. I mentioned it just a few minutes ago. Just be competitive, right? Sometimes again, the ball's not going to always bounce your way. You're gonna go through some adversity, but it's the key to just keep fighting and just keep competing, right? Because you never know. I mean, you out there and no matter who you're playing, things can happen. Just keep fighting and you never know. So I think the Chiefs again. We always thought Hardman thought he was going to kind of take that leap into, that next role that Tyreek kind of had, that deep burner guy down the field. He just hasn't really – he's been on and off, and Marquez Valdez-Scantling disappeared. So I think the 49ers, again, just keep everything in front of you. Don't allow the explosive plays.
Right.
Who knows?
You don't know. That's football. That's why we love it. Anybody can win any given Sunday. Falcons and Niners can come out of here with upset victories this weekend. Why not?
Yes, get the 2 NFC squads. Hopefully we can both get our wins over the AFC.
There we go. Right? I like it.
Speaking of the AFC, man, the Broncos and Chargers on Monday Night Football last night. Once again, the Broncos fall on prime time. At some point, I mean, we got to address, what's the deal with the Broncos, man? Like, I mean, I don't know. What are you saying?
They're a bad football team. Right? I mean, you just look at it and it's dysfunction up and down. It's like, Melvin Gordon's supposed to step in and be the next big thing, and he's on the sideline with his helmet off the whole second half. It's like, what happened there? He didn't fumble. That was kind of his main problem coming into the season. And then it's like, you're going to go, hand the ball off to a couple of guys that aren't Melvin Gordon the rest of the game. And it's like, okay, well, clearly there's something going on there. Russ just looks like he has zero time to do anything. And when he does have time, he's not seeing the open receivers. It's like, clearly something's going on. There's a disconnect, right, between Hackett and the rest of the team right now. And like what he did in Green Bay was awesome. He came in and it took a little while, but they figured it out. And you just look at this Denver Bronco team and you just think like, how can they figure it out? They just don't look like they understand anything of what's going on out there. They don't look good. Their defense is okay. It's not a bad defense, but it's like they're not going to be the type of defense that's going to go out and win them football games. So I think that the Broncos just might be in for a really long season, and they have invested a lot of money in Russell Wilson. They might need to shut him down at some point and let him heal up and just start fresh next year.
Yeah, I mean, that's not a bad idea because from what I've seen, man, it's just like you said, they'll start out the games pretty decently, and then it's like, get on, and it's just he's not seeing receivers. I mean, the offensive line's breaking down, of course. It's just little things like that. And again, like you mentioned, Melvin Gordon, I mean, he was on the sideline, just kind of, moping around. Like, I mean, so I don't know. Again, maybe there's some kind of disconnect between Nathaniel Hackett and the other guys, on the team. I just don't know what that is. But hopefully for the Broncos case, they figure it out fairly quickly, and the Chargers get the win. Very important win for the Chargers in the AFC West right there. So they continue to move. Believe they moved to 4-2 on the year. So it's good deal for the Chargers. But in the Eagles, man, continue their winning ways. Now 6-0, Nick. I mean, like, I mean, are they the lock for the NFC favorite? Too early?
Again, let's not. Yeah, it's a little early for that because remember what the Cardinals did last year, right? That's they came out and they were like, "We're the best team in the NFL," and then no, you're not. You're out in the first round. Like,
right?
You guys, they just they peaked, and then it was just downhill from there. And this Eagles football team looks good. right? I mean, on defense, on offense, Jalen Hurts, him and Josh Allen right now, right? For MVP,
Yeah.
like who's the best right now? And you would love to have either one of those guys. And then, he's got all kinds of weapons there. And it's impressive what they're doing right now. It's fun to watch too. I really like watching Jalen Hurts run the football. I like throwing the football. I like the decisions he's making. Like, it just seems like everything he's doing right now is working out. But right now, it feels a lot like that Arizona Cardinals team from a year ago. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes from here on out. We're starting week 7 here. It's still a lot of football left to be played. And I bet there's going to be some teams that we are going to hop up all of a sudden and we're like, wow, we had no idea early in the season that these guys were going to be any good. They get teams get hurt, teams get healthy, guys figure it out. Just like what I said about Denver, I don't think they're a good football team. I think the Philadelphia Eagles are a very good football team, and I expect them to stick around for the remainder of the season. But right now, that NFC East is looking really tough too. Yeah. The Cowboys, and then what's happening. I mean, obviously Washington is probably the outlier, but Taylor Heinicke might come in now and be like, "You guys gave up all this stuff for this Wentz guy. I'm the starter. Let's go." It happens, right? And so I don't rule them out either. They've got a lot of weapons there too with Brian Robinson now, and maybe they could figure out how to get Terry McLaurin back involved in this offense. And then we've been talking about the East, and we haven't even mentioned the Giants, who have just one loss on the season. So there's a lot of good football teams out there right now that might actually be bad football teams, but it's just too early right now to really start, putting labels on it.
Yeah, of course. And you mentioned the New York Giants, man. I got to give some shout out here on the podcast to my 2 New York teams up there, the Jets and the Giants. I mean, nobody I guess we expected a little bit of improvement from the Giants, but I mean, the Jets, man, they're 4-2 right now, Nick.
It's amazing what can happen with a culture change, right?
Yeah.
You talk about Dable coming in, for the Giants and what he's done, and Saleh in year 2 there with the Jets. It's amazing what they're doing. This is fantastic. Head coaches mean a lot to football teams, and not just with their play calling and this and that, just with the whole culture that they bring in, with the whole vibe that a guy can bring in. Dable comes in from the Bills, and he's like, we win. That's what we do. And the Giants are always like, we lose. That's what we do. It's like, nah. He figured out a way to get these guys to win some tough football games, too. And the Jets, nobody saw this one coming, especially when Wilson went down early. It was like, Flacco, here we go again. The joke Jets. But now they got it going on, man.
Yeah, they got it going on real good. And they're just finding, it kind of seeing some similarities, man, with them and the Falcons. They're just, kind of just finding ways to win these games. They're just staying competitive, man. And they're going out there and just competing and just giving it all, every rep, just playing hard, man. And that's what Saleh has got them doing up there. He's like, hey, we're going to go out there and we're going to play 60 minutes of football. That's what we're going to do. We're going to go out there, we're going to play you tough, we're going to play you physical, we're going to hit you. And that's what, we're going to play assignment football. And what happens, but we're going to go out there and compete. And that's, I believe, when you see, man, he's taking the 49ers defense, man, taking that mindset, that mentality, bringing it to New York, and it's really helping. Yep. That's, it's cool to see. Robert Saleh, get these guys, under his belt and just kind of change that culture up there with the Jets in New York, man. It's really cool to watch.
I know I said it last time, but D'Amico Ryans is going to be doing that soon, for some other team at the end of this season, going into next season. And if it is Carolina, they're having a little fire sale right now. We might see a few more guys getting traded before that trade deadline. So if the cupboard's bare, then it's going to be tough for them to go get a guy like D'Amico Ryans, right, who's going to be highly sought after, when this season ends. So hopefully they don't get rid of too much and really back themselves into a corner, right? But then again, if you go out and get a bunch of draft picks too, that might be enticing to a new young coach too. It's like, I can go out and bring in the guys I want, go do whatever I want. But we're talking about a guy like Christian McCaffrey, who's apparently on the trade block. Like any coach, in their right mind would love to have a guy like that.
Yeah, and you mentioned Christian McCaffrey, man. The Panthers, they're like going under just complete. It's a dumpster fire right now. Robbie Anderson was just traded. I mean, a day after he's kind of on the sidelines arguing with the receivers coach, and Steve Wilkes, hey man, go to the locker room. I'm not going to deal with that. Just go to the locker room.
Good for him too. Yeah,
yeah. It's like
you don't need that vibe, right?
Right. Yeah. That's like that's something you see probably like at a high school game or something like that. It's like, hey man, get out of here. Just get out of here, man. Go to the locker room. I'm not trying to have that. And he did, and they ended up trading him to the Cardinals, who just lost Marquise Brown to injury. So that'll be interesting to see. How I'm sure Anderson's going to play a role in that offense.
Well, they're going to get Hopkins back too. Yeah,
Hopkins coming back.
Watch out for the Cardinals. Don't write them off.
I don't want to, but at the same time, they just kind of been iffy, man. And I really think this year is critical for them. It's for Cliff Kingsbury especially. You know, and if they don't get it rolling, you know, things could look
You're not
different.
wrong. Yeah.
So, you know, but Christian McCaffrey being on the trade block, man, we think about that. I mean, he's so talented, but just can't stay on the field, man.
And it might be smart, right, for the Panthers to kind of cut their losses right now, you know, going forward. Like, this is a dead season. Like, let's see if we can get a couple of first-round picks for this guy, you know, and really, because like you said, like, he's electric when he's on the field. He just can't stay healthy. So if you're going to start a rebuild, you know, yeah, you'd love to rebuild around a guy like that, but at the same time, if he can't stay healthy, then, you know, there's really no point in doing anything like that. But they need a lot. You know, it's not where they're just a piece or two away from being a good football team. Like, they need a lot of help there in Carolina. So you might see some of their really talented players going away, and it might be a few seasons before, you know, they actually are competing again in the NFL.
Oh yeah, of course, man. You know, Christian McCaffrey, yeah, just a beast, man, on the field when he's healthy. And you know, I like I said, I believe Robbie Anderson was kind of just the start of all that. You know, DJ Moore might be moved as well. He's a very talented football player, man. Great receiver. You know, a guy I want to see succeed. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't believe that's going to be in Carolina. They just got to reset the whole thing. So, but going into week 7, man, you know, I mean, Nick, we was flying through this season so fast, man. We're already at week 7, man. It's crazy. So, I mean, overall to this point, what is your takes on this season, man? You know, overall, has it been, you know, surprising, expected, unexpected? What's your overall assessment so far?
It's kind of what I expect, right, with the NFL. They want parity, and they're getting it. You know, there's a lot of teams that are still in it in week 7, and that's what the NFL is really striving to do, is to keep all the fan bases involved. And there's only a couple, you know, like the Panthers, right? I mean, who else, right? Even the Raiders, they don't have a great record, but they have a good football team that have lost some really, really close games. So you look at teams like that, and if you're in the fan base, you're thinking, okay, we run off 3 or 4 wins in a row, and then all of a sudden we're right back in these things. So, you know, that's what the NFL is. It's exciting. Every game matters so much, and any team can win any game against any team. It's fantastic. It's why we love the game. It's why it's the most popular sport in America, and it's why it's growing internationally as well, because it really, you know, it just has that little something, right, that just keeps you going. It's action packed. It's even when it's a boring game, it's, you know, I'm still hanging on every stat. So maybe that's just me, or maybe everybody's right there with me.
I'm right there with you,
I'm a footballaholic.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. You know, I mean, it might be a boring game, like, you know, but then again, somebody might pop off a big run, or, you know, you never know, right? So it just becomes interesting. So that's what we love about the NFL. Is, you know, it's awesome. And now, of course, there's some ticky-tacky stuff, you know, we always want to improve, and they're going to work on that, you know, especially the roughing the passer penalties, which I want to get your thoughts on real quick, man. We've seen a lot of these controversial calls roughing the passer, man, you know, and so what does the NFL have to do moving forward to kind of make sure that these things don't cost teams games and, you know,
it's
stuff
simple.
Like that?
It's very simple. You just make it reviewable. That's it. You just make it where they can go back and look at it. Oh, we threw a flag on that because it looked like roughing. They go back to look at it. That wasn't roughing. You know, like, it's really that simple. Is you just you keep it in place. If you really want to protect the quarterbacks, you keep it in place. You throw the flags, but you also make it where, and maybe even where the coach doesn't have to review it, where that's just a play that goes to the eye in the sky. You know, where they're automatically like, okay, we're going to take a look at this. Give us 15, 20 seconds. Okay, they say it's good. Okay, it is a penalty. Oh, no, the guy put his arm down and braced himself, and he had nowhere else to go. We're going to pick the flag up. Like, it really seems like that is an easy solution, where it's not going to cost teams games with a bad call. If it's the right call, get it right. You have the technology, just get it right.
It's simple, man.
Simple.
Easy.
It's so simple. Why don't they do it?
Yeah, it's very easy, and you know, so hopefully the NFL can get that fixed there. I mean, you remember a couple years ago we had pass interference. That was a challengeable thing, reviewable.
Yeah.
And they took it away after a year, but you know, and that was, I guess, in response to the whole Saints no call against the Rams.
The championship game.
Yeah. Yeah. But then they took it away. So hopefully soon, you know, we'll get this. You know, roughing the passer under control here pretty soon.
Right.
But, other than that, man, you know, Nick, it's been great talking some football with you, man. And, you know, thank you for joining us again on the show. And good luck to your 49ers against the Chiefs. A big game this week for you guys as well. And our next matchup on tap will be the Arizona Cardinals against the New Orleans Saints on Thursday Night Football, Amazon Prime. Make sure you guys catch that. It's going to be a very big game for both teams who are trying to find some consistency and balance. So, it would be a good one there to watch. Maybe our best. Our primetime games have kind of been a little iffy this year, man. So hopefully this one's better.
Hopefully they show up and play some real good football.
Yeah. But before we get off, man, any last thoughts, Nick?
Yeah, I mean, we've said it, right? I mean, it's hopefully we get a good product on Thursday night. Hopefully, we get it, because on Sundays we're getting a lot of great games, but you're not able to see them all because they're happening at the same time. So hopefully they can start picking and choosing some of these games on Sunday. I mean, I know they're already picked out for Thursday and Monday night, and then soon we're going to start seeing those flex games Sunday night. So I think we're going to start seeing some even better games. Sunday night's been good. It's been the Monday nights and the Thursday nights that have let us down. Sundays have been fantastic. So I'm just counting the days till Sunday comes around again. Let's go.
Yes, sir. But yeah, thanks, Nick, for joining us today. Make sure you guys check out Locked On 49ers there. They got great content covering San Fran out west. And make sure you guys check us out here on YouTube, Spotify, wherever you get your favorite podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in. I speak for Jaden, Gabe, myself, Nick Winkler, and we will see you guys next time.